So I made an old video once, a few months ago, called, I believe, How to Turn Your Monsters into Pets. And I talked about how, in that video, I talked about how it's basically impossible for a person to look at their own personal demons without turning the demons or monsters into pets. And I have a new perspective on this. Not that I was wrong, but see, I've dealt with a lot more than I was dealing with at the time. And I found that the best way for me, this personally worked for me, may not work for everyone, is to look at your demons straight in the eye when they show up. So if you have a specific problem, an eating disorder, really just anything that you're struggling with, when it shows up, this is what I did. I didn't call for it. I didn't go looking for it. I just let it show up, right? And then I gave it a name. I named it something. Whether it was Ed or S or just anything you want, I gave it a name so that it was real. It was undeniable. Now it exists. And I wrote it down. I wrote down its traits, where I think it came from, what it does to me, how I feel. You know, I really went into details as if it was a real person. I have found that's the best way to eliminate them, because you cannot eliminate it by ignoring it. If anything, it feeds off of negative energy. It feeds off of your negativity when you're like, oh fuck, I don't want to look at that right now. That's not me. And you just start denying it. When you start lying, that's when it grows. Right? That's its food. But once you... This is going to sound so fucking cheesy and cliche, okay? And I really don't mean for it to come off this way. But once you embrace it and love it, okay? And you stop judging it. You stop placing a moral dimension upon it. A moral judgment. That's the moment you begin to chip away slowly. Of course, it's not going to go away within a few weeks or a few months. Its presence is still going to be known, and you're still going to feel it, especially if it's been a chronic sort of problem that you've had, right? It's still going to be known. The presence is still going to be there, but this time, you're going to have it by the fucking tail. It's like a rat. You get it by the tail, right? And the only way to do that is to face it. It's not to run away from it. When you run away from it, it only gets bigger. It only gets bigger. There's no escaping it. And you do not want to be one of those 50-year-olds who's never confronted a fucking demon in his life or in her life, right? And you're so naive and shallow that you know all your problems. And your personality is paper thin, and you feel it and everyone feels it in your presence. You can tell when a person is someone to be tangled with, when their depth is unmatched, right? Everyone has been around someone like that. They really could give less of a fuck of what you think about them, because they've already dealt with not all their shit, but they're dealing with their shit. It never ends. I hate to break it to you, it never ends. You're always going to deal with it. And we've always been around a person that's been like that, who's dealing with their shit, and they know their problems, and they work on them constantly, every single fucking day. So, that is my suggestion. Okay, take it or leave it. I would suggest you use it. I invite you to use it. This method really helped me. Carl Jung wrote extensively about it. It's called The Shadow in his books. I would suggest you go check out videos about that. You don't even have to read his books. I haven't read his books personally, although I intend to. But yeah, that's all I can give you, folks. Done.